Wellness Show, episode number 418.
Welcome to the Wellness Show, a podcast on health and wealth. I'm your host, Tyhson, the founder of the Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy. Join me as we get the latest insight, tips, and strategies from wellness providers, coaches, and successful, heart-centered entrepreneurs. And welcome to the Wellness Show on Health, Wealth, and Enlightenment. I'm your host, Tyhson. We're with you for the next hour to answer all your questions to dowsing and energy healing, what's up in your life, and what's up on planet Earth. And we only have a few more shows to go before we have a hiatus and for the summer. So this is your opportunity to phone in and get a clearing or get yourself back on track, get clear of what you don't want so you can install what you do want. So welcome to the show. And how are you doing, lovely co-host Laura Cool? What's up in your life?
Wonderful. It's a beautiful day today again. Everything's good here in Wisconsin. How's it there in Canada?
Well, the day is sunny and bright. We've been having a heat wave, so it's been a bit hot here. And we're about to do some major cleanup here. So today, and we're going to really clean the bottom of the barrel in more ways than one.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. So the topic for today is called the New Earth.
Yeah.
And what the heck is that anyway? New Earth? I thought we only had one Earth. I thought there's a whole, posters out there. There's only one Earth. We got to get this cleaned up. There's no one other Earth. So what's this New Earth?
Right.
What's that mean? Do you have any idea of this New Earth?
Well, I think that some of us are already there, and that the majority have not yet made it through the transformation.
So how would you know if you're part of the New Earth? Do you get a sticker, or did you receive a ticket to be punched, or did you get off at the right train station, or what? What happened?
It's right here.
Right here. No, that's not a bullet in the head or anything.
It's just this peacefulness while everything else is chaotic around you, supposedly. Because I don't even see it or feel it. Do you?
Well, I'm asking you because before I start diving in with what I think or don't think or know or don't know, it's really good to get an idea of what other people think is the New Earth. And if it's a state of consciousness, which it may be, and we could douse that, then how would you know? And you say you've already arrived, then how do you know that you've arrived, and how would somebody else know that they arrived? Just seem to be logical questions to ask, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you said, well, one thing would be that you'd feel peaceful. So why would you feel peaceful, or what would be the precursor, or what would have happened for you that gives you that sense of peace? I mean, I think you're on the right track.
I think I'm not. I see all sides now. I don't just see my side.
Bingo. I think that's absolutely true. I would say that's one condition of whatever New Earth is.
Mm-hmm.
It's here, there, or in their underwear, wherever it is.
Mm-hmm.
One of the precursors of it is that there's no more dialectic of opposites, right?
Right.
I mean, there's opposites, but you're not caught in one or the other. You can see both and.
You know what's interesting is I had a friend who's super intelligent. I admire him so much because I love brilliance. And he brought an idea about a blog or vlog or whatever that he wants to do, where he sees all sides of everything, where he does the get all the information that he can on all sides. And I thought that was brilliant. Now I look at his posts that he's doing, and it's really is just one-sided. Like, he tries to do the other side, but you can see which way he's leaning. He does bring in both sides,
right?
But he still hasn't. And that I think is still brilliant, because I think that it's not something that comes naturally for us to see all sides.
No, absolutely not.
So it's one of those things where there's like a piece within the other side too um well, I understand why they did that, and I understand why they feel this way, and I understand why they feel this way, and I don't see just two sides, but
Yeah,
rather
it's just
an
I see
eclectic.
this and I see this, and then it's always followed but, and it's that but. It's the one, the kick in
Yeah,
the pants that says, if the person say I see this side and this side, and I see both, and then they're doing synthesis, right?
right.
But the way to really get a culture or a tradition, a civilization really fighting amongst themselves is bring this antithesis forward. Black Lives Matter. So somebody has to be right, then somebody has to be wrong. And if you're right and you're getting everybody to think that your right is the only right,
Hmm.
there's going to be conflict. And this is the dichotomy of America right now, is we're mask, no mask, COVID-19, no COVID-19, Black Lives Matter, they don't matter. All lives matter, you know. So it's really hard to help people see that all points of view are valid. They're all timelines. We create the world we live in with every thought, word, and deed. So
Hmm.
if a person is having that experience that Black Lives Matter and they need to be in the street to do whatever they need to do, they need to be doing that, right? Then maybe they're being pushed on the back of the head by their creator God to do what they need to do. They need to go through that experience to come to some realization. It's not for me to judge them. No, I can have discernment in the sense of saying, well, I don't want to go do that, right? Or that doesn't resonate with me. I don't feel pushed to go and do that. So it's not part of my reality.
Hmm.
But the thing is, when we think that my point of view is the only point of view, and that, Lord, if you don't agree with me, you can't be my friend,
I know there's so much.
then we're in a problem here, right? And this is the whole thing about Democrats and Republicans as we come up to the election in America.
Mhm.
Is those points of view are really getting violent, and it's creating a division in America, which is a fake division. Right? Doesn't matter who you vote for, you're voting for who's going to manage the corporation of America. You're missing the whole point. The whole point is, what do you want your government to be? And I can tell you, whether it's Democrat or Republican, you don't want that. You don't want that. Why? Because it has two sides of the same control mechanism. And so what does that mean? Well, it means then the only way through all this is to understand what it is to be a sovereign human being. So you can see through the disjointed belief system of what's being promoted to you as a truth. So there's something really magical that happens when you do the deep clearing protocol and you start to clear away all these illusions that you think are influencing you, which come from the outside world. And you think that that's what's controlling you. And in actual fact, it is, because you're letting it. But as you come into your own sovereignty, take back your personal power, then you can see what is yours, and you can see the clarity of what's in the world, and then you can make some rational decisions. And I'm not saying that the rational decision is to take a side unless you feel that somehow you need to get banged on the head, or need to be yelled at by other people, or you have to be right in order for somebody else to be wrong. I mean, if you need to go through that experience, go through it. But I would think a new earth is a new way of showing up, which is, you're okay. I don't necessarily agree with you. I'm okay. I don't necessarily even maybe agree with myself, because tomorrow my opinion may change, right?
Right, right.
So I can coexist with both of those and look at that. Well, we're one human race. We're
Mhm.
one species. We are one, and any illusion of separation is merely illusion. Easy to do? No. Is that the new earth? Yes, I think it is. I think it's part of the consciousness that brings a new earth. Because how can we have peace if we're always fighting, right? And so
Mhm.
where does this begin and end? I think
Mhm.
it begins and ends inside of ourselves, right?
Yeah. Well, there's a lot coming out that's being exposed that I would have never thought. And when I douse on it or I ask and I find out that it's truth, and I'm like, what do you say to that? What do you say when it's the last possible thing ever that you thought possible, and then it is possible, and I'm getting, yes, that's true. This is what really has been happening. it's almost as though all the bright shiny things that like are heroes of the past, right? When we were kids, we always had heroes. And
Yep.
apparently like Babe Ruth, for instance, right? The man, the generation's hero, and was actually like a drunk, right? And had lots of interpersonal demons.
Who
But
are
what
we
he
talking
did on
about?
Babe Ruth, but on the outside, he did like so many wonderful, amazing things, and he was a hero to many. And it's kind of like these heroes or these people that we've like put into higher, like look up to, and now we're starting to see the truth of them, like the that they were just human and that they made mistakes and
Yeah.
they
So
got
what?
and
I agree. But why do we want to rip down the statues of all these people? Look,
mm-hmm,
if you were the hero and they made a statue about you, there would be the light and dark because it's unfinished
right,
business that I have and you have.
right.
Look, just
The-
because a person isn't a finished speech, isn't God incarnate, right? Isn't JC, doesn't mean that they didn't bring about great consciousness raising, even if they were, say, had slaves, right? So
yeah,
to make a judgment of another human being because they did something wrong, and that we then throw everything that they did out the window as
mhm,
being invalid, just doesn't make a lot of sense. And that's the craziness that's going on in America right now.
right, right.
Look, it doesn't matter how many state statues you tear down, doesn't change the history of America
Or the world. I mean,
or
I'm
the
talking
world.
about political people that were very, very like many religious people thought this person was amazing, and now it's coming out that maybe not so much. And it was like, really? Or like seriously? And then someone said like Mahatma Gandhi wasn't all blah blah blah. And I'm like, yeah, because maybe we're all human and we all make mistakes. If you look in my past, there's plenty of mistakes. There's plenty of things that I'm not proud of. But when I
Exactly.
come, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Right. So Mahatma Gandhi, slept with his stepsister, I mean, or his godchild. Did they have sex? I don't know. Did he need that vital energy to keep him activated for his Kundalini to be strong enough to do what he did? Absolutely. So who am I as some sort of moral judge to say that that was wrong? I have
Right.
no idea what was going on, and to be frankly, it's none of my business.
Yeah.
And then if I need to criticize somebody else, the only reason I criticize somebody else is because I haven't figured that inside of myself.
Out of myself. Right.
Yeah, which is really, I mean, I'm going to go clean up a cottage that has all sorts of stuff going on, and I can get really angry at my tenant. But what didn't I complete inside of myself that allowed a tenant to come here and create all this craziness in my life? What part of me allowed that to happen for me to have this experience? So,
Right.
I can say, oh, well, she, or whatever, but I'm missing the point.
It's so true. When you start to look at yourself and what you brought, like, how did I create this for myself?
Yeah,
The
exactly.
real healing starts to come. And then I believe that the stillness comes within. That
Right.
when you stop fighting yourself and you just accept all that is with no judgment and
So
with just
there you are. So there's two things in the
unconditional
new
love.
earth, right? That you just said. There's one is there's no opposites, right? Or there's no battle between right and wrong, right?
Right.
And then the other said you said there's a stillness, right?
Hmm.
So those are attributes of whatever whatever we're going to say the new earth is, right? And those would be the attributes of it. And that would become from some inner peace within inside of yourself, right? That you're not trying to figure it out in the outside world. The outside world is not being bad, rotten, and mean to you. You're doing the inner work.
But it's also a constant, like moment by moment, that when things start to come up, how am I gonna deal with this? Am I gonna go into the rabbit hole? Am I gonna like let it spin out? And like last night I had tons of energy and I was just "Rrrr." And my friend said, Laura, go do something physical. So I went out and I mowed my yard like so fast. Like I was trying to push all of my not anxiety, but I had so much energy. And these are my power days, so I don't know if that's what part of it is. So I did and I was just sweating when I came in. I felt so calm and peaceful with inside of myself that, and then I woke up with that energy again, and I was like, okay, what am I going to do with this? So I went outside and burrowed deep down into the earth, pushed all my energy down into the earth and sat in the calmness of the earth. And then all these birds were coming super close to me. And then I get on the show and Michael's like, oh, calm, calm, center, center. You're already calm and centered, so it was all good. And here we are. And it's like how you could either go foo and wrap out right
Now
out,
look at your fingers. Look at your fingers. Okay, what are you doing?
spinning.
Right. And where did you learn about spinning?
When I was a little kid, oh my God, I loved to spin when I was a kid, but
Yeah.
that's something different. Oh yes,
You come from the Sufi tradition, but
Mhm.
you know, doing spinning. But where else are you teaching spinning?
Where else am I teaching spinning?
Yeah. What do you do when you got too much energy? There you go. Right. Yeah. What's
Just
behind that?
and I did do the
Right. So the first thing to ask is when you're going, things are crazy, is did you clear?
yeah, exactly. And I did, and you're right, I sat here and cleared with Michael this morning. Clear, 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 clear,
But
clear.
don't you think it's funny
But
here? You're going like this, and you're describing the very thing that we're talking about when we're doing a deep clearing. You're either spinning out what you don't want, or you're spun out by too much energy. It's in our
Mhm,
language, right?
mhm.
And you're grounding, which is spinning in and spinning down to the ground.
Oh, and it just
So
comes.
this is so important. It's like breathing in and breathing out. So that part of the new earth is being able to have the technologies of transformation, whether it's using a pendulum or whatever, to
Mhm,
become grounded, to be at home in your body so you don't spin out. Or if you spin out, you know how to come back to tranquility. Spinning out is fine. Like you said, you're in your power days right now. You have a lot of extra energy, how to use that creatively without
yeah,
damaging yourself and
mhm,
damaging everybody else, right?
mhm.
Or somebody else, the power day maybe, well, I gotta get a picket sign and go, right? Protest or whatever, right?
Right.
How do you manage your energy in a creative way, right? So you're not destructive according to the law of one, just do no harm and the most benevolent outcome for other people. So there's sort of managing your own energy as part of this as well. I would say for the new earth as well. And then also, so what do you think? Do you think if you said that you think you're already in the new earth, so then in your belief system, we ain't going nowhere. We're already there. Some people are there and some people aren't.
Mhm.
Okay.
Well, I don't think that it like I know I have a feeling that there's going to be a shift like that too,
Okay.
but there's also like before you pull a tooth or before you remove something out of your life, there's a period of time where there's understanding that it needs to go.
Right. That there's chaos, right?
Right.
And God knows we got enough chaos, which is a precursor to this change or transformation.
Right. How long that goes on, as you and I said this last month or all these months lately, seem to be days, not 31, but like a couple days and the month's gone. You're just like, what happened? Why is this going so fast? So things are again spinning. They're moving faster and faster and faster. So when you ask like, well, how much longer before this new earth? Because I think people are getting impatient, and but I do believe that the chaos has just begun. That's my
Yeah,
feeling on
we look at, what Corey has been telling us, we're in for a bit of a, another year at least, right? And then the election is going to be a turning point for America. We know that. So just some other perspectives, remember you had the dream about the dove?
yeah.
Okay. And then I showed you, we talked about the return of the dove that comes from, this book, which is Keys of Enoch.
Hmm.
And so I started looking at that diagram again, and I know it's a bit woo-woo, but it's pretty exciting to look at. So I'll see if I
Oh,
can and
good.
bring it up.
When you do that, I'm going to read. Debbie Etzel said, I wrote yesterday on my page, we should not be punished for the sins of our fathers. And also without forgiveness, we should we will never set ourselves free. Being nice matters and America matters.
Yeah, being nice, play nice. Those are the rules of the sandbox, and they're no different whether you're in the sandbox or whether you're in the country of America. Learn to play nice, all right? We don't need to be beating on other people.
And Sherry Catlin says, "Good morning. Thank you, Laura. Good things are coming." So
All
thank
right.
you. You guys can call in too and
Yeah,
ask.
absolutely. I mean, this is your show. This is your opportunity to
Mhm.
say that's a bunch of hooey, or I want to know more about that, or
Mhm.
whatever. So,
And it's 1-866-369-7464. Oh yeah. Oh, I love this.
okay,
Mm-hmm.
so this is the Return of the Dove. We'll see if we can get a full page here so you can see that. So how he calls that, can you see that fairly well?
Yeah, if you yeah, that's good because we have the full dove in there now. And you can
Right.
see the United States in there and then Canada and Mexico.
Let's try 50. That's worse or
Oh,
better?
yeah, no, that's worse.
Okay,
Come back
let's
up
do 7. All right.
70. Yeah, there you go.
All right, so this descent of the dove, as you can see, really has to do with the energies of bringing different energy fields together. So in boots on the ground geomantic course, this is what we're studying is when you have 3 points in the landscape, which is a tetrahedron, and you can't see if I hold up a tetrahedron, but I will do that in a second. It's just a 3-sided triangle. When you bring 3 sides of a triangle together and connect them, then certain magical things begin to happen. It's a power of 3, when 3 or more are gathered, there am I. And then when you start to release the trauma from the earth, which is like when you release the trauma in your body by doing the deep clearing, there's a clarity that comes to you. You become a sovereign human being. So for America to become a sovereign human being, because there's an angelic being that's in charge of America, of
Mhm.
North America, also of the continent of America. So in many ways, we think that we in Canada are separate from the U.S., but there's a greater angel of North America. So we're all interconnected, right? Both Canada and the United States, our destinies are intertwined, whether we like it or not. So some people
There's
say, when
no
you
borders energetically.
like, so when we say in Canada, when America sneezes, we get a cough, right? Because we're much smaller in population than you. So
Mhm.
you have an impact on us, whether we like it or not. But the point is, collectively, the energy, when we clear away the trauma that's locked in the land, just like the trauma that's locked in our body, then the land starts to clear, our bodies start to clear, and we become a sovereign human being as an individual. And America, when we clear the trauma out of America, then America will become a sovereign human being. So what do I mean about the trauma? Well, there's lots of trauma, right? There's the coming of Christopher Columbus, right? And there's the settling of the New World, where all of the First Nations were declared not to have a soul because they didn't believe in Jesus Christ, right? So their people got slaughtered, and disease and pestilence was given to them. Many, 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 many people died because of that. And then we have the Indian Wars. We have the taking away of all the native lands, reservation, the Trail of Tears, when many, many people died moving them to the reservation. We have, what we did with the schools, putting everybody in a school and trying to take away their culture. So what we did with the First Nations and treating the original caretakers of the planet, of this continent, rather than learning about how they lived in harmony with the land, we just imposed our own set of values, our righteous indignation on the land. And where the First Nations saw the land as alive, we saw it as essentially dead, inert matter from our scientific, rational point of view that we could do anything with, and there would be no consequences of it. And of course, we're beginning to discover that that's not the case, right? That there's no separation from me from my mother and my lineage, and there's no separation from humanity and the mother earth that birthed us. So learning how to make this awareness and remove the trauma of America so she becomes sovereign is really part of the new earth.
What page is this on?
Page 49.
49.
And
Um,
I put 49 down here because there's no numbers on the page and I wanted to find it again. So page 49.
oh, thank you. So what does the meaning of the,
Well, that's an interesting one because you read that out, go to the front of that on page 49, because it talks about the very things that I'm beginning to work on, which is
oh,
12 around one, when 12 or more, 12 people, when 4 groups of 3 people each come together and work on the land and clear the land, then miracles will happen. So if
you
you
want me to
look,
read it?
what's that?
You want me to read it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hold on a second. How far up should I go? Like
Well,
40,
just
42,
start at the very front page is a good
like
place to start.
number 41? They
No,
will land.
let me just read it, and then you can read, then you can just read whatever you want out of that, because you just psychically choose. At the beginning of this, the key to our astrophysical time zones, okay, time zones. So remember, time is an illusion.
Where
So
are
when we're talking about a new Earth, we're talking about, and as you just said, Laura, time is speeding up. It's like 1 month is like 1 day now, because time is an illusion. It comes from our consciousness. So as we speed up in our ability to think and process information, time then collapses. It gets faster and faster and faster, right? And at some point, as we create that, as we approach that null zone, that harmonic accord where everything is vibrating in unison, it will collapse and there'll be no time. All time will be eternally present. So we're really in this vortex. When you say, oh, it's spinning out, it's spinning out. If you look at the other part of the spiral coming in, it's going into unity consciousness. So everything's sort of like collapsing in the tube torus and bringing us into this now moment where all time ceases to exist and all time is present. So all of our past lives will be available and consciously available in this present and all of our future lives. So all that timeline collapses into oneness. So it says the key to our astrophysical time zones is the 3 in 1 alignment. So the 3, when 3 or more are gathered, there am I. So
where are you in this? Can you, which,
right at the very front. Go to page 43. It's key
oh,
105.
you're going all the way to the front. Okay.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
Because that's the overview of what we're talking about.
Okay.
Okay. And it says the 3 in 1, where 3 or more are gathered, the forces of the Great Pyramid. So they're talking about the pyramid and the function of the pyramid in the landscape. And the 12 and 1, which is the 12 around 1, which is what, the radical new earth resonance group is talking about every Tuesday night. Shelley Darling and the group are talking about 12 around 1 and the power of 12 around 1. When you have 1 in the center being the source consciousness, and you work with the land, or you work with anything for that matter, miracles start to happen because the power is exponential. The sum is greater than the individual parts. And so when we learn how to work into groups, which is really what I think the New Earth is about, is learning collectively that we have the power to transform the timelines and create a new world, a new Earth, okay? So 1 energies are the time warp pyramids centered and controlled by the many and the 1 throne energies of Orion and Pleiades. This goes back to what you and I were talking about. Well, Tyhson, you said, where do you think you're from, right? And I said, well, we know that the Orion belt is the star pattern on Earth, which is the 3 pyramids of Giza, right?
Yeah.
So all of the star patterns are replicated through the pyramids that were built on the Earth as a conduit or as a way of channeling energy from interdimensionally from other planets to the Earth. So in other words, like if you were an intergalactic traveler from Orion, you would be using the pyramid as a honing device to know where you land your craft, right? It literally would be a beacon that's broadcasting at a frequency that you could find at any place in the multiverse, right? Am I making sense?
Yes, I'm following you. I just hope everyone else is. If there's any questions, either posted on the Wellness Academy on here or call us. Uh,
So if this is true, what he goes on to say, and you can pick anything out of there that you want. It says, I'm just going to read something and right now I'm just going to open up and say, these previous Atlantean fields of crystalline energy are being reactivated as centers of energy focused on the planet, which will be used once the Earth's inner core of neutral matter has been heaved up. So he's saying that that literally continents could rise and could fall. That's what he's saying. And he's saying the new Atlantean centers will be activated from the Bermuda Triangle, which is over here on the map, which is where all that strange phenomena of aircraft and everything being lost.
Yeah.
And there's evidence of a huge pyramid in the ocean there, right? Which some say was from Atlantis.
Right.
And then there's from the Great Salt Sea, which is where the Mormons are, right?
Yep.
The Mormon Tabernacle. And Jerusalem, which is the Jerusalem that we're talking about, the Jerusalem Stargate, which is in Palestine and Israel, and which are already known as the pyramid areas by the higher evolution. Then he talks about the Jerusalem command from Orion. So now he's saying this return of the dove has to do with extraterrestrials. Okay.
Well, okay.
So the coming of the extraterrestrials. So then he's talking about the harvest, or he's talking about picking up those beings that are at the right frequency that they can inhabit new stars, new planets elsewhere. So then the question is the new Earth somewhere else? Are you becoming the new human that can populate a new Earth, which could be Earths in other galaxies and other areas? And that this Earth gets to continue on in its own evolution and continue on the way that it is. And if that's true, he said that this has happened many, many times with every major civilization. There's those that have ascended. We think of ascension as they disappear into another dimension. From his point of view, they're being picked up by starcraft, right? And taken to other planets because their vibrational frequency allows them to populate other planets because they found peace inside of themselves.
So can I read what I'm drawn to?
Sure.
So it says that the harmonics of light will reveal the ancient lands of the Nephites in the Americas. I don't know. That's on the bottom there on the left.
Right.
And then it says, we'll show the overlap where the Brotherhood will land in America and gather the righteous seed. So that's the Great White Brotherhood, who I was told I work with. So
yeah, they are coming. So some people call it the harvest, which sounds like a gross thing. Hey, we go to Earth, we harvest the humans. You know, you think that, well, harvesting plants, you think that you're killing plants to be digested, but harvesting and what they're talking about is gathering like-minded souls that are of certain vibrational frequency to take them home, so to speak, right?
Right. Can I continue?
Absolutely.
They will come within the formation of a magnificent dove whose head of crystal knowledge will be over the Yucatan Peninsula, whose wings shall sweep across the danger zones of the eastern and western flank of North America, whose feet will land within the pyramidal area of the Bermuda Triangle and the ocean area near Mazatlan, and whose body will gather the pearls of the communities of the righteous into the heartland of the Ancient of Days. Into all of these areas around the world, technologies of light will come from the Galactic Command in Orion? How do you say
Orion.
It? Orion, thank you. That wasn't right. Orion. With instructions to help the some kind of race bring peace to the earth. People who are to be brought into these areas will be transfigured to go on with the galactic seed already in the image of the Lamb given in the galactic key of the Pleiades. So there's keys in the Pleiades as well, right? That 5D, I think, is what they're saying. And their seed in the physical flesh will be like the stars of heaven. They will take the exodus to other star systems in order to begin a new genesis in the next ordering of creation. At this time, the Great White Brotherhood will come to take its own seed. For 20 million years ago, it planted its seeds crystal within the galaxy. At intervals of every 6 to 12,000 years, the celestial lords of light gather and cultivated seed crystals of evolution left by the original. Um,
So let's stop there
okay.
and talk about that. So what he's saying is every 12,000 years, a civilization has rose and fallen on this planet, and that
Yep.
every time there has been an ascension that has occurred, where the star, let's call them star seeds, are those at the right vibrational frequency that have come to peace inside of themselves and peace in their neighborhood, because we're talking about community, right? He's saying that people are gathering in the land of the dove, or these different zones in America, in Canada, as safe zones, as places where people gather and learn how to live and work together in harmony as a group, right? It's like they've come in harmony with the forces of the land. So as we clear the land, we clear the people. As we clear the people, we clear the land. And those harmonics between the land and the people create this new, what I call the new human, the one that it would be an eco-spiritual steward who's aware of the interconnection between all of life and themselves, and then therefore is managing it in a very co-creative way in harmony. Then at that point, there's a harvest where the galactic beings come and take those people by starship or whatever, or teletransport them or whatever, to other dimensions, to seed other planets and other dimensions with that, where that way they would resonate correctly, depending on the frequency and vibration that they've rise by clearing themselves and working through their own trauma. If that's true, then the earth continues on, and for another 12,000 years until
Mm-hmm.
there's a new seeding. Now, if you look at history, every 12,000 there's been continents rising or falling. Okay, we go back 12,500 years, we have Atlantis. We go back another 12,500 years, we have Lemuria. Go 12,500 year, and I think it's Pagel, or I can't remember what the name of it was. But so what we're saying is all these cycles of creation and evolution are repeating themselves time after time after time. In America is the new one, and it's in America is the opportunity for doing this. So what he's saying is the energy is being moved from Palestine and Israel and Giza to this land, because the harvest of what happened with the Israelites was part of that gathering of the seed at that time out of Egypt, before Egypt terminated as a civilization. So we have a choice here. Is America going to become the dove of the new being, where all of America lights up in consciousness, or will there be only a seed group that's removed from America because America doesn't fulfill its destiny as a nation?
Well, this is interesting because it says the world that they will inherit will depend upon the maturity of the soul and the way they have allowed the light to function within them in service to their fellow creation. So
Right.
how much light how much we've given to others, how much we've created, how much more light we've created is what the new world that we will inherit, correct?
Which it goes back to the deep clearing protocol and why it's so important to clear yourself of all your trauma and
Mm-hmm.
unresolved conflict, because that allows you to be a pillar of light. The ability to which you do this is the resonant frequency allows you to graduate to whatever level that you will be able to inherit the new earth, and whatever level you arrive at. So everybody gets to create their own world, right?
Yes,
Else be wrong.
absolutely.
I mean,
That's at least that's our understanding of it.
well, that's what it's saying here, that I understand.
But
And then
that's
we're doing this as a group.
yeah, yeah. And it says the crystalline fields of the 12 Urim and Theon, which don't matter, will be cleansed, and as the scroll of Revelation says, we shall be one with the great white throne in the midst of the earth. The nations of the earth will be saved from war and destruction through the people of the light. The people of light will enter all these energy vortexes directed by the Jerusalem command, the higher intelligence from say that Orion or Orion,
Orion.
Orion, controlling the physical energy field now over the present Israel. So there you go. There's another um understanding there as well. And I know some of this, like Tyson and I read it, and it like I could just continue and continue and soak it in, and other people read it and they're like, "What the hell? What?"
Right. It takes a lot, and every time you read it, because it's so dense, you
Yeah.
discover another layer of reality. But
Yes.
I do know that when we come together 12 around one, we
Yep.
create what's called a Merkaba, which we talked about, and we talked about a tube torus on the last show, right, yesterday. And
Yep.
when you have that 0 point where all the energy collapses in together, then time ceases to exist. And
Yep.
then and in that, you get an opportunity if you're working with energy lines of the earth through
Mhm.
one nexus point where the energy is all blocked up. When you clear that point on the earth, the energy goes through the ley lines, the energy lines of the earth, and starts to light up everywhere. So it's like the human body. So I'm very excited about boots on the ground and teaching people how to do this in their own landscape and their own bioregion, because that allows America to be rebirthed, become the new earth herself.
So some people asked what this
You
book
got
was.
that upside down, people can't read that.
Okay, I couldn't tell because it's backwards for me anyway. There we
There you
go.
are. This book is not cheap, and it's also very, very dense. So
It's not easy to understand from what I've been told. I don't find that difficult, but some people do. Here's the vision in its accumulation when that I had when I had that vision of the dove, of being on the dove's tail and riding in. When I saw this, I was like, ah. And you see where, like, for me, all of this means that all of the different religions become one. There's peace on earth, and everything starts to be more at peace and in harmony on the
right.
planet.
So there you are. So the new earth requires new humans. New humans requires you doing the work individually and collectively using the deep clearing protocol and any other technique, by the way, that has an ability to remove trauma, unresolved conflict, and core fractures from your own energy field. Then when you turn around and then help other people to do that, you have a multiplier effect. And then
Right.
the next level is to do that in the landscape, is to clear the human
Mhm.
trauma from the land, wherever there was a war or pestilence or slavery or a sacrifice or a massacre. All those landforms need to be cleared of the
Yep.
trauma, so that the energy lines in the earth, the electrical magnetic lines of the earth, can create this what we call the new earth, right?
Yep.
Now, if we don't do that, then what happens is the new America doesn't arrive, doesn't get birthed as a new being, but those that are at the level of consciousness will be picked up and taken to other planets. That does not mean that America can't fulfill its destiny.
Hmm.
There's no reason why America can't be the new dove. There's no reason why America can't do this. I think it's really ironic because
Well, even
America is seeing itself as the most important civilization on the planet, but they've done it through war and control mechanism. But think about America in the terms of the dove of being one that brings peace to the world. When you reverse that, then we have what's called the new earth, which is really what the destiny of America is all about. So
well, and
I,
even Dalai Lama said that the Western woman will bring the the new world, right? So the love of the heart of the feminine, and that doesn't matter if you're male or female, as long as you have that female energy within you, you bring forth the new world. That's my understanding.
Well, everybody, this is your show, and we've been talking for 3/4 of an hour about the new Earth. And so, and all these amazing things about, are the extraterrestrials going to come and rescue us? Are we left alone? Is this something we need to do as the new Earth already arrived? Do we need to really get out of our own way in order to be prepared energetically for whatever is about to happen? Can we get past being Republicans or Democrats or liberals or conservatives or NDP? Can we get past our political stripes like skunks and be able to realize that we're all one? So what are your thoughts about this? Do you have any feedback, questions, concerns, or would you like to receive a clearing? We got 15 minutes to the top of the hour, and this is your show. We can certainly keep talking about these experiences.
And if you have questions about the dove is an energetic field, is my understanding, correct?
Yeah, it's a pathway to the new human. So here's an amazing book that I highly recommend. It's called The New Human, which is, you can't have a new Earth without a new human. And it's awakening to our cosmic heritage. And this is by Mary Rodwell. The interesting thing about this book is she's interviewing all the children, crystal children, new age children, all the different rainbow children, starseed children, and interviewing them. And what they have to say is really amazing. They all have experiences of other worlds, of coming from even other species and incarnating as humans. And they're literally teaching their parents about where they come from, what they're here to do. And so what she's saying is all they say diagnosis we have about ADHD, Asperger's, and all the different forms of autism are new programs for humanity. We just haven't learned how to communicate with them or make it safe for them to be able to come out of their own shells and speak their truth, because it's too scary for them. They're on an alien planet that makes no sense to them whatsoever, and nobody's speaking their language, right? Well, that's not true. Some people are, but the vast majority of us are not speaking their language.
I have parents coming all the time, and I explain to them about their crystalline kids, and they are like astounded that I can tell them what their crystalline children are like. And they're like, exactly. Oh my gosh, yes, exactly. And I'm like, yes, the new crystalline kids are coming in to change the world, and it's inevitable. It's going to happen. It's already happening. It's already changing. And the more that they come on, the more babies you have, women, come on, bring it. The faster this will go, right? So
yeah, absolutely. And if you wouldn't mind doing it in what we talked about, which is the divine marriage, so where you're energetically bringing that child through the act of sex at the highest level of bringing your kundalini into balance, then you're bringing the highest potential child through, because the child can only match the energy of the sexual act that you're in and the energy that you're sharing between the mother and the father, or the potential mother and father. That's what attracts the vibrational energy to the womb. That's the signature, just like we talked about, that the pyramid is the frequency that allows interdimensional beings from Orion to land their spacecraft on planet Earth. Your dimensional frequency of the act of love allows the frequency to attract the child that matches that frequency. It's all frequency.
And try not to compare your children to the old, like doctors, will say, oh, they're on the 90th percentile or blah, blah, blah. All of that's changed. All that, because kids aren't talking as quickly as they used to, because they're reading your mind. And so they're way more intelligent than what you think. I've had so many mothers say, oh, they want to put my kid on medication. I'm like, your kid isn't.
Don't do that. Don't
just let them. They're so incredibly smart. Let them. And they're precarious, and they have lots of energy, and they don't want meat. They want high vibe foods. It is amazing how amazing our children are. And there's so much stuff out there like aspartame in the candy that's so bad for the kids. Like, oh, right. I could go on and on and on just about the crystalline kids and how to deal with them. And
Absolutely. I get parents phoning me and grandparents, and
mhm,
they say my kid is having dreams about, a lifetime with Christ. And I say, well, that's I can relate to that's normal. And I talk about what the kid's going through. And they say,
uh-huh,
how do you know? Well, because I know because we understand these kids. It's like we're on the same frequency. And so we understand what trauma they're working through, and why they're having nightmares, and how we can help them feel comfortable. So the whole idea around the Rainbow Children's Network is to create a group of aware people that can be, what would you say, ambassador or part of the welcoming committee to these children, and say, hey, you did choose the right planet. It's just that they're not quite ready for you. So here's the manual for planet Earth. They're a little bit weird in this way and a little bit weird in that. But you're the normal, the new
mhm,
normal. But
mhm,
in order to communicate with them, here's the language you need to speak so they can understand what you're saying, right? No,
right.
you can't think the thought because they won't get it. They're going to have to verbally explain it in a very linear way. I mean, literally, I'm joking with this, but I'm serious on another level behind the joke, that this is really what these kids need. They need to be helped to understand that they are okay. They're not the one that is off center, so to speak. It's the civilization they've incarnated into this off center, right? They're not here to fit in, they're here to change the world.
And didn't you do the things that these kids are doing now when you were a kid? Like I used to read my mom's mind and I would like leave my body and go and I would listen to their conversations and mom would be like, how does she know that she's got good hearing? I don't. I was just like um constantly like no eavesdropping, and I could manipulate my mother in a matter of seconds because I could read her mind and I could read her like a book. So and I could play my parents against each other until my dad got wise to it and was like, "No, we're not playing this game anymore." And yeah, it was.
I
And
used to do
that,
that.
yeah, see, and none of our friends could do it. So I was like, "Here, don't ask your mom yet. Just wait. I'll tell you when." We always got what we wanted, but
I
yeah, but
can't say I always got what I wanted, but I did. I'm not very proud of it, but I did play my mom off my dad and my dad off my mom.
oh
And
yeah,
that's so I could just literally go to my room, be left alone, right? Let them argue it out, duke it out.
oh
So,
I didn't do that.
so I wasn't the center of the attention. I could go do what I wanted to do, but really get out of the way, because there was a lot of disagreement in my family. So I just,
Oh, I'm sorry.
no, that's all right. I just go get them to disagree over there, so they'd leave me alone, and that was part of it.
I only saw my parents fight once.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah,
I didn't have that experience.
badly.
I
That
started off, my grandmother said that I was actually put up for adoption. I don't remember any of that. I just remember all these and crayons and coloring. I don't, I didn't see anything different about where I was, but apparently my grandfather had got angry and came and rescued me. And then I got to live with so I have a really weird background, but that's neither here nor there. Another thing I wanted to talk about, there's a great book out, and I'd have to leave and go find it, and it's a book written about that almost all of the songs that have been written, all the songs that we know, have come from experiences that the songwriter has had with aliens.
oh, sure. Yep.
Okay.
Mhm.
So it's really like the songs. Now, we're not talking about Madonna stuff, but we're talking about, other things. Well, it's true. All right. If you're on the dark side, you're on the
Oh,
dark entities.
the
I don't
Beatles
know.
the Beatles were definitely one of the
Yeah, almost every major one. This guy that interviewed them, I can't remember his name. He's definitely into UFOs, but he isn't
Mhm.
into music. But he got this idea by one of his interviews with one of the musicians about their UFOs. So contact. So he got curious. So he went and interviewed other musicians and found that almost right across the board, of all the famous musicians, they've all had ET contact of some kind related to their music.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then that brings up a question then. Who's talking to you, Laura, when you say you're receiving guidance? Is that another alien? Like, are we getting alien songs in our head, or are we really, really getting it from source? I don't have the answer to that, but
Have
it's,
you have you seen this one?
yes, that's what we're working on in the boots on the ground. That's literally what we're doing, is we're going and working at those areas and bringing them together with ley lines, new energy lines, and joining them.
Do you see how Brazil is and South America is never a part of this? Isn't that weird? And
Well,
there
we're
were,
working in South America right now. We're working in the sacred valley of the Aztecs and removing the trauma there. We're also working in Lebanon, as we've been drawn to work in Lebanon because there's so much crisis in Lebanon. So we're working in Lebanon now. I've been working in Washington, D.C. I've done some work in the Stargate of Jerusalem. So these are PowerPoints on the planet that need to be cleared. I'm not looking for them, they just arrive, right? Like the
yep.
people gather together and we know that. And if you want to know more about this, as this show comes to an end and it went into hiatus, I still am available every Tuesday night, and then in the Radical Earth Heart Resonant um, group comes together, part of the good of the whole, and we meet every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific. It goes for about an hour and a half, and we're learning how to teaching other people how to work with the land and how to clear the land, and the ripple effect that has in the landscape. I think we had 13 people on the call on Tuesday, and I don't know how many on Facebook. Really good gathering, people coming from all over the world to attend that. So there'll be actually more teaching next Tuesday about how are we using the technique of dowsing and 12 around 1 to do this work. So if this is something that interests you, come and join us. You go to the good of the whole and you'll find how to join. And there's something going on in the good of the whole from the very sunrise, where the Mayans are doing a sunrise ceremony all the way to the end of the day with the sunset, which is another Mayan ceremony. So there's something going on every part of the day. So if you're bored and sick of TV, then go to the good of the whole and plug into all sorts of amazing things going on there. Teachings, learning about the Mayan calendar, there's men's group, there's just so much exciting things going on as people want to gather together like-minded people and learn how to work together and share and enjoy. That's a great place to go, the good of the whole, and have those experiences.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so we got a few more minutes to go. We could probably squeeze in one person if they wanted to show up. Pretty silent out there. Do we have any messages?
Meditated with one of those women on your on the what did you call it? The last thing you were talking about?
The Radical
Yep.
Earth Heart Resonance.
Yeah, I just meditated with a woman from there this morning.
Ah,
She did a very nice heart resonating meditation. So it's constant, isn't it? 24/7.
yeah, the good of the whole is, well, no, it goes from sunrise to sunset.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah, and just go over the whole good of the whole. You'll see the whole calendar. I'm a member of it, and I contribute to it every month because I think it's really important to learn how to come together. If we're going to create the new earth, then we need to learn how to live, work, and do community together, right? So since 1975, when I was interviewed by the newspaper in Vancouver, I found myself saying, well, the next evolutionary step for humanity is to learn how to live in community. And at that time, I thought it was new age community or intentional communities or I guess communes is the negative terminology that was used. But no, it's not just that, it's community of like-minded people. It's the concept of 12 around 1, where a group of like-minded people comes together around spirit, source, or God, or whatever you call that, in the center, and using the Christed energy of three or more are gathered, there am I, to do amazing things, everything from healing individuals, releasing trauma from individuals or trauma from the earth. And it's very, very powerful work. And my whole next step is teaching people how to do their own, bring together their own 12 around one to do what they're called to do so that they can do that work, that greater work to bring about the new earth. So that's the next step. So what's the topic? Tomorrow's the last day that you and I are together. You may not be here, right?
Right.
It may not happen. Well, if you were here, what do you want to talk about?
What I would like to talk about is aliens and God. Like, is there a are they one and the same? Because if you look at like the Egyptian hieroglyphs, there are all these alien ships in there. And as I'm sitting here looking at this, it says the creative mind is the center of the universe, is known as Lord, King, and Redeemer. Yeah, they talk so much about in this book about aliens. So is it one and the same?
Well,
Are we all
that's a good question.
the same creator? Or is it a different creator for different parts of the universe?
That's right. If you look at that book, there's different gods for different parts of the universe. But then at the very highest is what they're calling, I don't know how he calls it Ein Sof. He calls it the undescribable. So, but it's the manifest world. So, I mean, I teasingly have said, Laura, when you get it right, you're going to be able to do a planet.
Right.
I'm not kidding. That's the evolution of consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, when you get it together, you get to play with the planet.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about you. Like I said, I'm certainly not ready to create a planet. And
I don't think it's us as an individual, but us as a soul group.
No, you as an individual.
Oh.
Well, I mean, it could be a soul group too, but what I'm saying is that part of becoming godlike is having godlike powers, right? And that you're creating and manifesting. Until creating and manifesting is not something you need to do anymore, right? I mean, if it's all an illusion of taking energy and making it into matter, and matter going back to energy, it's just like a kid playing with Play-Doh. Well, except Play-Doh doesn't disappear. But you know what I mean? Like you're literally learning how to do something and making it work. And I don't know, sometimes I think that we're on a planet where somebody's goofing up a bit. They didn't get their plan very straight.
Well, even God has workers for every single thing. I believe.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The lesser God for planet Earth, maybe he has a few hiccups in his design, right?
Maybe.
Or maybe it got, I think more likely that he had a plan, but it got co-opted by another alien agenda. And that's what we've been trying to figure out is.
Well, this is the third dimension, which is the longest, hardest, most negative dimension to get through. So
exactly.
Was that part of the plan of being able to create? Like, look at all the things that could go wrong. Look at all the things that you could create. Now that you've created it, now how do we come out from under it?
Exactly. We do the deep clearing protocol, and we're at the top of the hour. So we're always coming back to the deep clearing protocol, which is really just one of the ways to clear ourselves, to remember that we're sovereign human beings and we get to show up and be gods in potentia, right? Remember who we are. Exactly. All right. Bye for now. See you tomorrow. Bye. Hopefully you can join us, Laura.
I'm going to read this, though.
All right. Bye for now.
Bye.
For quality online wellness products, courses, and services, visit our sponsors, thewellnessstore.ca and the Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy located at thewellnessacademy.ca. To stay in touch, visit us at thewellnessshow.ca. And until next time, be healthy, wealthy, and wise.